Metro Exodus. Metro Exodus is a game that really knows how to mix things up. It's a perfect blend of action, survival, and a touch of mystery as you venture through the harsh, post-apocalyptic world. From the moment you hop on your train and leave the safety of the metro tunnels, you're thrown into a whole new world. One that's vast, open, and packed with danger and surprises. No more tiny, claustrophobic corridors. Now you've got vast landscapes to explore, filled with all sorts of challenges. You're still in the shoes of Artyom, but this time, things feel a lot bigger. The game takes you on a journey through Russia with huge open-world areas to check out. It's all about survival, so you'll spend a lot of time scavenging, crafting, and making sure you've got the right tools for whatever the world throws at you. Whether you're crafting ammo or figuring out how to sneak past a massive mutant, every decision feels important. There's a lot of tension when you're trying to make sure you've got enough resources to make it through the day. Now, let's talk about the fun part, combat. You can go full guns blazing, but the game really shines when you try to sneak your way around. There's something super satisfying about silently taking out a group of enemies without ever being noticed. Of course, there's always the option to go in loud and just unload, but honestly, the stealth feels way more rewarding. You'll find yourself customizing weapons to match your style, whether that's silenced pistols or sniper rifles. Max Payne 3 is one of those games that really knows how to keep you on the edge of your seat. You're thrown into a world of intense action, where every bullet counts and every corner could be hiding something dangerous. The game's combat is smooth, satisfying, and just downright fun. You've got bullet time, that signature slow-motion mechanic that lets you dodge bullets like a total boss, all while taking out enemies with precision. It's the kind of gameplay that makes you feel like you're in a blockbuster action movie, minus the explosions. One of the coolest things about this game is how it mixes strategic cover with fast-paced combat. It's not just about running and gunning. You got to plan your moves, find cover, and pick your shots carefully. But even when you're in cover, things never slow down. You're always thinking about your next move, and it keeps you constantly engaged in the action. The dual-wielding mechanic is another great touch. Being able to fire two guns at once makes combat feel even more dynamic, and it's just plain fun to watch the bullets fly. And let's not forget the variety of weapons at your disposal. Whether you're going for the classic handgun, packing some serious heat with a shotgun, or trying your luck with an assault rifle, there's a weapon for every playstyle. Each weapon feels unique, and you get the satisfaction of feeling like a one-person army as you switch between them mid-fight. The game isn't just about the firefights, though. The levels are well-designed and push you to think about how to approach each situation. Assassin's Creed Origins. This one's like stepping into a massive living museum, only instead of just looking around, you're climbing pyramids, diving into tombs, and getting into some pretty intense sword fights. It's got that cool vibe where history feels alive, but it doesn't shove it in your face. The world is just straight up fun to explore. Every corner's packed with little surprises, whether it's some ancient ruin off the beaten path or a random side activity that ends up being way more interesting than expected. What really sets it apart is how much freedom it gives you. There's this huge stretch of desert one moment, then suddenly you're weaving through city streets or sailing down the Nile the next. It flows really naturally, like the game just wants you to do your thing at your own pace. Take your time, follow some clues, find a few hidden spots, or just hop on your camel and ride into the sunset. Totally your call. The way everything fits together is just smooth. You get this slick mix of action and exploration without it ever feeling like a checklist. And the combat finally feels satisfying. It's not just button mashing anymore. You've got different weapons to mess around with, and they each handle a little differently, so it's fun to experiment. Some hit fast and light, others swing slow but deal a ton of damage. And when you get the rhythm down, it just clicks. The leveling system and gear upgrades keep things feeling fresh too. You're always finding new loot or tweaking your setup to suit the way you like to play. Sekiro takes everything you think you know about action games and flips it on its head. This isn't just your standard hack and slash game, it's a wild ride of skill, precision, and strategy. From the first moment you step into the boots of the shinobi protagonist, you'll feel the weight of every decision and every swing of your sword. The combat is at the core of it all. Every fight is a delicate dance. You won't be mindlessly hacking away at enemies. Instead, you'll need to master the art of timing, parrying, and waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Each enemy, from the lowliest grunt to the massive towering bosses, has a unique pattern that you'll have to figure out if you want to make it through. And let's be honest, the bosses are brutal. They'll keep you on your toes and require you to rethink everything you thought you knew about combat. But what sets it apart is how rewarding the challenge is. Every time you feel like you're about to fall, there's this rush when you finally figure out that one attack or move that turns the tide. It's that feeling of, yes, I did it, that keeps you coming back for more. The resurrection mechanic? Total game changer. You're never truly out of the fight. You always have that second chance to turn things around when you need it most. Of course, it's not all just about slicing and dicing. There's plenty of sneaky, stealthy fun to be had. Whether you're scaling rooftops, sneaking up on enemies, or pulling off a deadly stealth kill, Spec Ops: The Line. The story itself might be set in a war-torn Dubai, but it's the way the game forces you to confront some heavy questions about morality and leadership that makes it stand out. The gameplay, while still rooted in the traditional cover-based shooting mechanics, feels so much more engaging when you realize it's not just about killing enemies. It's about strategy and thinking on your feet. You're not alone in this, you got your squad with you, and you can actually command them in battle to help you out. That little bit of extra control over how things unfold makes the combat feel more tactical and satisfying. The use of the environment is awesome too. You'll see sandstorms roll in, wreaking havoc, and the city's ruins make for some really interesting cover choices that can change the dynamic of every fight. What's really cool, though, is how the game plays with the idea of choices and consequences. It's not just about shooting your way through enemies to the next checkpoint. Every action you take feels like it might come back to haunt you, and that adds some real emotional weight to everything you do. It's not every day a shooter makes you question if what you're doing is the right thing. And let's talk about the setting for a second. Sure, it's set in a fictionalized Dubai, but it's the sand and destruction that really set the tone. The city is in ruins, and it's like playing in an abandoned, post-apocalyptic version of a once glamorous place. The way sand is used as a tactical element adds a fun layer to the combat. Alan Wake 2 is a game that definitely keeps you on your toes. Right from the start, you're thrown into a world that's equal parts creepy and mysterious. You get to play as two totally different characters. One of them's trapped in a nightmare dimension, the other's an FBI agent solving some seriously bizarre crimes. And guess what? Both of them have their own unique way of dealing with the chaos. The gameplay? It's like this perfect mix of survival horror and detective work. You're not just blasting your way through enemies. You've got to be strategic about your resources. Ammo, batteries, that kind of stuff. Every time you shine a flashlight on the enemies, they get weaker. But those batteries don't last forever. So it really makes you think about when to fight and when to hide. And trust me, you're going to need to hide sometimes. Now, the investigative part, that's where the game really flexes. One of your characters is all about solving crimes and piecing together clues. The other one, well, let's just say his idea of investigation is writing his way out of a nightmare. It's pretty neat how you can switch between the two and dive into completely different types of gameplay. It's like getting the best of both worlds. As you go through, you'll come across different puzzles and moments that make you feel like a detective in your own right. The clues are everywhere, and it's up to you to figure out what connects them all. Marvel's Spider-Man, Miles Morales. Swinging around the city never felt this smooth and stylish. The second your feet leave the ground, the world just opens up in the coolest way. Zipping through snowy streets, flipping through the air, and chaining web swing after web swing is the kind of thing that never gets old no matter how many times it's done. Every little trick thrown in midair just makes the momentum feel even sweeter. Combat really knows how to keep the energy high too. Fights feel snappy and responsive, blending punches, dodges, web shooters, and those flashy signature powers into a dance of chaos that's impossible not to enjoy. There's something super satisfying about smoothly taking down a whole group of enemies without missing a beat, especially when mixing stealth with all-out brawls. The world always finds a clever way to fill the gaps between the big moments. There are plenty of side activities scattered all over, and every time one pops up, It's like an open invitation to have some fun before heading back to the main objective. Whether it's chasing something down or helping out random people around the city, every little task feels like it belongs. Exploring isn't just about checking boxes either, since every corner of the city hides a little surprise or two. Whether it's a collectible or a quick encounter, there's always something waiting that makes the trip worth it. The world does a great job of rewarding curiosity, making it easy to lose track of time just wandering around. Batman Arkham Knight. Let me tell you, this one is a real treat for anyone who loves action-packed gameplay and the dark, brooding world of Gotham. Imagine diving into a massive open world where you can swoop down from rooftops, taking out enemies with style while feeling like the ultimate superhero. The combat system is super satisfying, letting you unleash a flurry of punches and gadgets that make every encounter feel like a choreographed dance of justice. One of the coolest features has to be the Batmobile. It's not just a car, it's a fully fledged gadget on wheels. Zooming around Gotham in this beauty is a blast, and it's not just for show. You can blast through enemy barricades, engage in vehicular combat, and even solve puzzles that require some slick driving skills. The feeling of being in control of this iconic vehicle adds a whole new layer of fun to the game. The gameplay also has this perfect mix of stealth and action. You can choose to sneak around like a shadow, taking out bad guys silently, or go in all guns blazing. Well, not guns, but you know what I mean. Using gadgets like the Batclaw or explosive gel feels super satisfying as you strategize your way through enemy hideouts. It's all about being the ultimate detective and tactician, which is so much fun. Exploring Gotham City is like being in a playground filled with challenges and hidden treasures. There are side missions galore, and each one feels like a mini adventure that pulls you deeper into the Batman universe. Red Dead Redemption is one of those games that just sticks with you. It's not just about the Wild West vibes or the epic shootouts, although those are a big part of it. It's more about the world that it builds, the people you meet, and the sheer freedom you get to experience. Seriously, it's like stepping into a living, breathing version of the Wild West where you can do just about anything, from chasing down bounties to playing poker in a dusty saloon. The game's world is huge, and the beauty of it is in how detailed and alive it feels. Every corner has something new to explore, whether it's a random encounter with a stranger or a little side quest that just pops up out of nowhere. You can be minding your business, riding through the plains, and suddenly find yourself in a crazy situation that demands your attention. It's that kind of unpredictability that makes the world so engaging. The freedom to play how you want is another reason why this game stands out. Whether you're the kind of person who's all about shooting first and asking questions later, or someone who takes the peaceful route, the game lets you shape your experience. You can choose to live a life of redemption or let your outlaw side shine, whatever fits your mood. The moral choices you make not only affect your character's journey, but also how people treat you. You could be known as a ruthless gunslinger or a man of honor, and either path has its perks. And let's not forget about the gameplay. The controls are smooth, and the Deadeye system is something that adds so much to the action. Resident Evil 3 Remake is here to deliver a thrilling, edge-of-your-seat ride through the apocalypse. If you're looking for action-packed survival horror, this one has it all. Imagine surviving in a city that's literally falling apart around you while an unstoppable, terrifying force is on your tail. That's the vibe here, and it doesn't let up for a second. One of the coolest things about this remake is how it takes the original game's concept and brings it into the modern era. The game keeps all that tension from the classic, but it dials up the action with more cinematic moments and dynamic combat. No more slow and steady sneaking around the zombies. Now, it's all about fast, thrilling combat with your heart racing as you face off against a whole range of creepy creatures. And of course, the most iconic part of this experience is that terrifying nemesis who's constantly on your heels. He's the ultimate stalker, popping up at the most unexpected times, pushing you to keep moving and keep thinking fast. You can't just sit there and wait for your moment to strike. He's always coming for you. The environments are detailed and immersive, making you feel like you're truly inside a decaying Raccoon City. It's one of those games that keeps you constantly aware of your surroundings, checking every corner and rethinking every strategy. You'll need all the resources you can get, whether it's ammo, health, or even just a moment of peace to figure out what to do next. Middle-earth: Shadow of War. This one takes everything that made its predecessor so addictive and cranks it up to a whole new level. The combat is faster, the world is bigger, and the enemies, they're not just mindless grunts. Thanks to that incredibly deep nemesis system, every encounter feels personal, and no two battles play out the same way. One moment, there's an orc swearing vengeance. The next, it's turning into a full-blown rivalry that lasts for hours. The feeling of taking over strongholds and leading an entire army is where things really shine. Instead of being a lone warrior cutting through waves of enemies, it's all about commanding troops, planning strategic assaults, and watching a carefully built army grow stronger with every victory. The orcs under command aren't just faceless soldiers either. Each one has personality, strengths, and sometimes a little too much attitude. Upgrading skills and gear keeps the gameplay fresh, letting battles stay engaging no matter how far in things get. There's something satisfying about unlocking new abilities that make slicing through enemies even more fluid. Whether it's stealthy assassinations, brutal executions, or raining arrows from above, every fight plays out with a perfect mix of strategy and chaos. The world itself is a dangerous playground, full of different regions to explore. Every area has its own threats, opportunities, and of course, a never-ending supply of orcs ready to either join up or cause trouble. Kingdom Come Deliverance. This one goes all in on realism and somehow makes that feel like a fresh take on the open-world RPG formula. It doesn't throw spells or dragons at you. It hands you a sword and says, "Good luck, try not to bleed out." And it works. Everything from the way you fight to how you dress, and even how much you've eaten, plays into the experience. It's not trying to impress with flash, it's aiming to pull you into a place where the rules feel grounded. The combat system stands out right away. It's slower and more deliberate, like a duel rather than an action movie. You can't just button mash and expect results. Timing, angles, positioning, suddenly every fight feels like a little puzzle. And it's not just one-on-one either. You can find yourself in full-on battles, and staying alive means thinking on your feet. Or just running. Running works too. Then there's the attention to detail. You've got layers of clothing and armor that actually matter. Food spoils. People remember your actions. Show up somewhere covered in blood, and folks will react. Forget to sleep or eat, and you'll start to feel it. It's all part of this bigger system that's quietly working in the background to make the whole thing feel alive. What really clicks is how open it all feels. You've got this sprawling medieval world full of castles, villages, shady taverns, and wide open forests. You can train, hunt, learn alchemy. Rise of the Tomb Raider. Exploring ancient ruins, scaling dangerous cliffs, and uncovering lost secrets never gets old, especially when every corner of the world is packed with clever little surprises. Whether it's stumbling across hidden challenges or figuring out how to open long-forgotten tombs, there's always something waiting to pull you off the main path and reward your curiosity. The way movement and exploration blend together makes every climb and jump feel like part of a bigger puzzle. Each new area seems to encourage stopping, looking around, and planning the best way forward. Whether it's clinging to icy ledges, swinging across gaps, or sneaking through dense forests, the sense of freedom always shines through. Combat feels sharp and fluid, and there's a really satisfying rhythm to switching between stealth, traps, and full-on action. One moment you're creeping through tall grass, setting up the perfect takedown, and the next you're crafting explosives mid-fight to tip the odds in your favor. It's the kind of gameplay that rewards players for thinking a few steps ahead, but never punishes anyone for going in guns blazing. The crafting system adds another layer of fun to the whole experience. Gathering resources from the environment, upgrading gear, and fine-tuning your tools make every scavenged item feel like it has real purpose. Whether it's building new equipment or unlocking new abilities, A Plague Tale Requiem. This one is an absolute treat for anyone who loves a good mix of stealth, strategy, and emotional storytelling. You're thrown into a world that's grim, full of challenges, and where survival is always a constant struggle. You'll find yourself navigating tight spaces, using the environment to outsmart enemies, and dealing with one of the most terrifying and unique threats, the rats. First off, the gameplay here is all about making the most of your surroundings. It's not just about dodging enemies and sneaking around. You're actively thinking through how to use the environment to get ahead. You've got weapons, sure, but there's a ton of creativity in using alchemical tools to manipulate light, start fires, or even extinguish flames to create new paths or distractions. It's pretty fun how you can think of clever ways to avoid direct confrontations, but when you do have to fight, the combat feels satisfying, like you're always making the most of the resources available to you. The world you're exploring is full of contrast. There's this mix of beauty and danger, and it makes everything feel a little bit more real. The spaces you move through can be huge and open, allowing for plenty of exploration. Whether you're sneaking by enemies or solving puzzles with the help of your brother's special abilities, it's always engaging. And let's not forget about the companions. They're not just there to follow you around. They feel like a real part of the story. The Order, 1886, drops you right into a world where Victorian London feels almost like a living, breathing entity with a twist. Picture this. You're in the midst of a secret war between knights, mysterious half-breeds, and some seriously cool steampunk tech. It's a wild blend of history and fiction that pulls you into an alternate version of the past where things are a bit darker and a lot more dangerous. The game lets you step into the boots of Sir Galahad, one of the Knights of the Round Table, but with a modern twist. The combat here is pretty satisfying, especially with the range of weapons you get to play around with. You got your usual guns, but then you got things like the arc gun, which lets you zap enemies with electricity, and the thermite gun that's perfect for causing some serious destruction. The guns and gadgets make the combat feel fresh and inventive, and you're going to find yourself coming up with some creative ways to take down enemies, especially when things get intense. It's not just about fighting, though. The game really wants you to feel like you're part of this world, and it shows in the way you move through it. There's a lot of sneaking around, carefully choosing your next move, and figuring out the best way to approach situations. It's like being in a big puzzle where combat and exploration both play important roles. Plus, there's a bit of strategy in choosing the right weapon for the right enemy, keeping things varied and fun. While you're exploring, you'll also be encountering quick-time events, QTEs, which might not be for everyone. Cyberpunk 2077 is an absolute whirlwind of a game. Picture this, you're in a neon-lit, futuristic city where the line between human and machine is so blurry you might as well throw a wrench in it and call it a day. The city, full of chaos and endless possibilities, is the perfect playground for a game that's all about choices, freedom, and crazy combat. Right from the start, you're dropped into a sprawling world that's alive with activity. There's always something happening, from high-speed chases to shady deals, and everything feels packed with detail. Whether you're walking down the street or zipping through the city in a slick car, it's a world that keeps pulling you in. But what really stands out is how the game gives you the freedom to approach situations however you want. Want to sneak through a mission, hacking everything in your path? Go for it. Feel like going in all guns blazing? You can totally do that too. The beauty of it all is how customizable your approach is, with each playthrough feeling a bit different based on the decisions you make. The combat? Oh, it's intense. Whether you're engaging in tight gunfights or using cool cybernetic powers, there's no shortage of ways to take down enemies. Each weapon and piece of tech you get your hands on has its own little flair, and there's something satisfying about mixing and matching your gear to find what works best for you. You can even get into hacking. There's a real sense of power when you can shut down security systems or take control of enemy tech from a distance. Days Gone is a thrilling ride through a post-apocalyptic world filled with freakers, crafting, and the open road. Imagine cruising through a beautiful, vast landscape where each twist and turn reveals something new and exciting. It's all about exploring this stunning world while surviving the chaos around you. Picture this. You're out there, hopping on your motorcycle, feeling the wind rush past you as you traverse forests, mountains, and abandoned towns. The feeling of freedom is exhilarating. You can customize your bike, making it uniquely yours. Fuel management becomes a mini-game of its own as you hunt for gas stations and resources. The thrill of finding that last drop of fuel just before heading into danger is an adrenaline rush. The gameplay mixes action and strategy beautifully. You're not just running and gunning, you need to think on your feet. There are hordes of freakers out there, and they don't play nice. When the sun goes down, things get even more intense. You might want to sneak around or set traps instead of going in guns blazing. That feeling of planning and executing the perfect ambush is incredibly satisfying. Crafting is another fun layer to dive into. Scavenging for materials becomes second nature as you create weapons, traps, and other survival gear. It's a constant balance of resource management that keeps you on your toes. Each encounter feels fresh, and the variety of weapons at your disposal allows for creative ways to take down foes. Detroit Become Human drops you into a world where androids are part of everyday life, doing everything from housework to complex jobs, and you get to control 3 different androids, each with their own journey. The cool thing is, these aren't your typical robot characters. They start asking big questions like, what does it mean to be human? And what happens when you realize you can make your own choices? Right off the bat, this game lets you dive deep into choices that matter. The flowchart system gives you a clear picture of how your decisions impact the world. And let's just say there are a lot of ways things can go down. From tiny decisions to huge game changers, it's one of those experiences where every choice feels like it counts. It makes replaying the game so much fun, especially when you want to see what happens when you take a different route. Each of the 3 main characters brings something fresh to the table. You've got Kara, the android, who's all about protecting a little girl, Marcus, the rebel who's leading a revolution for android rights, and Connor, the super slick android cop who's trying to track down deviant androids. They all face different challenges, but they're united by the quest for freedom and self-awareness. And honestly, seeing how each of them evolves over time is fascinating, especially since you're the one steering their fates. What's cool is that the game doesn't just focus on action-packed moments, though they're definitely in there. Zelda Breath of the Wild completely redefined what we thought an open-world game could be. From the moment you step into the world, you're hit with the sense that anything could happen. There's no hand-holding, no clear-cut path, just a massive, breathtaking world that's begging to be explored. You could spend hours just wandering, finding new places, and discovering hidden gems that make you feel like you're part of this ever-evolving world. The best part? The freedom. It's up to you how you approach everything. You can climb the highest mountains, swim through rivers, or dive into dungeons. Everything is open to you. You could head straight for the main quest, or get lost in side activities, whether it's cooking up a storm with random ingredients, or figuring out how to solve a puzzle in one of the many shrines scattered around. It's like a giant playground where you decide the rules. Then, there's the combat. It's not just about smashing buttons. It's about thinking on your feet. Whether you're using a sword, a bow, or even your environment to take down enemies, there's always room for creativity. One of the coolest things is the way the game's physics and chemistry systems play into everything. A thunderstorm? You bet you can make it work to your advantage. Want to create chaos by setting fire to the grass and watching enemies panic? Absolutely. Every little interaction feels dynamic, and you can almost always find new ways to approach challenges. Amnesia Rebirth is one of those games that really knows how to keep you on edge in the best way possible. It leans fully into that feeling where every dark corner feels like it could be hiding something, and every creaking sound makes you second-guess your next step. The way it blends exploration with pure nerve-twisting tension is such a cool balance, especially for anyone who enjoys games that mess with your mind as much as your reflexes. The clever part is how it constantly plays with fear, not just by throwing creepy things at you, but by making you work with light and shadows in a way that feels supernatural. There's this fun little challenge of managing your limited light sources, keeping your head clear, and trying not to lose your grip on reality while navigating places that are absolutely designed to unsettle you. It keeps the pace interesting, making even simple exploration feel like a big deal. What makes the whole experience even better is how it swaps out the usual combat for survival formula for something that focuses more on clever movement, hiding, and problem solving. The way you have to stay sharp and outthink what's lurking around rather than outgun it really adds to the excitement. It's one of those games that proves horror doesn't need to rely on cheap tricks or constant action to get your pulse racing. The puzzles scattered throughout feel like just the right kind of brain teaser too.